Welcome to another episode of Commercial Property Roadshow. You're here with Helen Tarrant, and today I'm going to talk about preparing your commercial property for sale. Now, we're coming up to one of the hottest listings and times right now in this market in commercial property. So February, March is the biggest listing period. You're going to have lots and lots of property and a lot of high vendor expectations out there. Now, it's 2022 and we finished off the year last year with some record sales, lower yields than people ever expected. Now we've seen some interest rate movement, so the interest rate's starting to move up. Now, I want to talk about how you prepare your commercial property for sale. Now, because this is a seller's market, so if you are thinking right now of moving your property that you've bought in regional maybe 3 or 5 years ago, and you're thinking you want to come back into a more metro area because the yield between regional and metro are really shrinking, then this might be a good time to sell. And I don't really talk about selling a lot all the time. I talk about people buy, and the strategies to buy. But there is times where you do sell commercial property, and this is the exit strategy. Why do you sell commercial property? So firstly, you sell commercial property because you've already made the gain and you want to move to a larger property deal. So you might be selling a couple of your $500,000 properties, and you might be selling about your mil properties. You want to buy a $3-5 million property. Or alternatively, you're moving from a regional area where the yield have already compressed and you're going into a metro area. So the prime example of that is, for example, if you bought in Rockhampton, if you bought in Townsville, you bought in areas of Cairns, or maybe regional Victoria, regional in Wagga or Albury, or areas like that, maybe 3-5 years ago, where the yields are really good. Some of our clients got into regional Victoria at 10% yields. Now, this is the time to look at refinancing. This is the time to look at getting the deal, getting into a different market, because the yield in regional has compressed. So things that are 10%, you can no longer find them. They're now at 6%, they're now at 7%. Now, this is a great time for you to leverage off that equity and buy again. Or sometimes it's just hard for you to leverage off the equity because you bought in a regional area and you're not going to get the same kind of valuation if you just go and get a valuation to refinance, but it might be better off for you to sell, unlock the equity, unlock the cash you've made, and go into a bigger deal maybe in a metro area. Because now if it's in a metro area, you are likely to get a slightly higher yield if you can go up above the mum and dad investors. So if you're in the $3 to $5 million space, then you can get a better return. Now, we're all return driven. So how do you prepare your commercial property so you have the best chance to sell it at the best returns? So number one is leases. Make sure you tidy up your leases. So who's paying for outgoings? Who's paying for capital works? Who's paying for management fees? Who's paying for land tax? And is there any outstanding works that the tenant needs you to do? So you want to make sure you get all those things done. So you want to make sure you talk to the tenant about the leases. If they're in the middle of a 3 or 5 year lease and they still got a good 2.5 to 3 years to go, nothing to talk to them about. You are in a good position to sell. Secondly, is there anything you've promised your tenants to do you haven't done? Make sure you do that, because otherwise it will come back to bite you at the sale time. Any lease arrears, any COVID relief, make sure that's already tidied up with the tenant. Make sure the tenant has already either paid it out or about to, and that's already done and dusted behind you, because there's nothing making a purchaser more nervous than if you had COVID relief still going through COVID relief or still giving them COVID relief. And then finally, you want to know if there's any upcoming issues that your tenant might have, right? If you've serviced the air conditioning and it looks like the air conditioning is on its way out, if you haven't done the landscaping, or if there's car park, or if there's leaks, or most importantly, if there is any issues structurally, you want to get them fixed. You almost want to do a pest and building report so that you don't go, you want to do a pest and building report so that you do not go and have this pest and building issue come up while you're going through the sale. So you want to tidy up all of that up, and that might cost you a significant amount of money, and then you'll be ready to go and prepare that property for sale and to get the top dollar. So the top dollar is, in this market, people are looking for de-risk assets. So if you can de-risk your assets totally so that it's totally set and forget, you are going to achieve the highest return or the highest price in the market and the lowest return in the market, because people are looking and willing to pay for security. And if that's what you can give them, and that's what you can position your property to give them, then you are going to reap the rewards. Now, of course, different properties differently, right? To different purchases. So if you are a property that is meant to be set and forget, make sure you tidy up everything, and it's a set and forget property. Now, if you are a property and the property itself is meant to have development potential, then you need to position it a little bit differently, because it's the development potential that is what you're selling. So, and you want to get the multiplier effect through your purchaser understanding the true development potential. So it's not just something to say it's got upside. That's not good enough. You want to do research with the council to work out what zoning. You want to know how high you can build. You want to talk to a town planner. You want to almost get a builder. You want to do some image drawings of the property, what it can be. You can almost outlay all the information of that in a concise due diligence document and hand it over to your purchaser and say, yes, you're buying a property at maybe on a short lease, and they may have only a year to go on the lease, and they may have some options, or they may have no options, but this is what you can get out of this property in the future. You can negotiate the rent because I'm charging a lower rent, and I can show you evidence of that. And you can do the uplift in it in the future by building or getting a DA or getting all of those things done on that property. And here is the evidence to support it, right? On top of that, yes, the property has land or it's near something and it's got easements. You need to check all of those things out and make sure you cover all those questions that are potentially going to ask. And also then you want to talk about whether the property, whether you can, even if they don't do development, if they hold it for 5 or 10 years, could they do extensions? What else can they do to that property in the meantime, right? So if you're doing a development property, the stuff that you need to give to your purchaser is on the research and proving that without a shadow of doubt, they're not buying it for the current value, they're buying for future value, and they're buying it for future potential. And that's how you can get the maximum price for it. If you're buying set and forget, if you're selling set and forget type of properties, then you are going to need to make sure you tidy up everything spick and span, tie it up with a bow, hand it over to your purchaser, and that's how you get the top dollar. So preparing your property for sale is really, really important in the commercial property space, and your agents should be able to help you with that. But if they're not, and you're thinking you've got properties for sale, send them my way. Let me show you how you can best position it, and I can probably even get you an off-market purchaser as well for that property as well. But the main thing is be really, really smart when you're looking at and looking at the timing for sale. Don't forget that when you do sell a property in commercial space, it does take you anywhere from 3 to 4 months to actually complete the sale process. It's your advertising and marketing is going to probably be about a month. You're going to be having to deal with multiple potential purchasers, and you're going to have it under contract for 30 days. With where the banks are going, unless you're selling a cheaper property under 500,000, you're going to need, someone's going to come and need finance. Well, they don't need finance. They're going to be minimum 30 days, and then a settlement maybe 30 days or 21 days after that. So it's a 3 months to 4 months process. So you've got to make sure you time it right. So before Easter or after Easter, do not list around Easter time because people are busy and school holidays do take a dent in the way people focus on it. But really focus on what you want to achieve ultimately, and work towards building a property profile of your commercial property so that you can attract the right purchaser. So again, this is all about strategy, and this is all I do day in, day out, is help people build a portfolio through doing commercial property strategy. So if you have a property and you already had a property you bought 3 or 5 years ago, and you're thinking, well, I don't know what to do with this property. Should I sell, come back more into metro? Should I not sell? Should I level off the equity? What should I do? Should I even do extensions? Should I do capital works on the property? Reach out to me, helentarrant.com or helen@commercialpropertycashflow.com.au. Click the button, subscribe, hit the bell, keep following me this year because I'm going to take you on some exciting journeys through the commercial property space. We're going to explore what to buy, what not to buy, and most importantly, what are the current returns in this market. But it's all about strategy. So is it the right time for you to exit commercial? Have a look. I'm happy to assess your portfolio for you and look at where you should be taking that portfolio. So keep hunting, keep growing your commercial property portfolio, and build a cash-rich portfolio. Bye for now.